The verb and the object normally go together. We do not usually put other words between them. I like my job. I like my job very much. Verb and the object will normally go together. I like my job. I like my job very much. I like my job very much. Do you see your friends yesterday? Anne often plays tennis. Study these examples. Do you eat do you eat meat every day? Do you eat meat every day? Every day, everybody enjoy the party very much. Everybody enjoyed the party very much. Our guide spoke English fluently. Our guide spoke English fluently. Spoke English fluently. I lost all my money and I also lost my passport. I also lost my passport. At the end of the I also lost my passport. At the end of the blog, you will see a supermarket. You will see a supermarket on your left. Place and time. Usually the verb and the place go together. Go home, live in a city, walk to work. If the verb has an object, the place comes after the verb plus subject. Take somebody home. Meet a friend on the street. Tom walks to work every morning. Tom walks to work every morning. Sam has been in Canada since April. We arrived at the airport early. We arrived at the airport early. I'm going to Paris on Monday. I'm going to Paris on Monday. They have lived they have lived in the same house for a long time. Don't be late. Don't be late. Make sure. Don't be late. Make sure you are here. Don't be late. Make sure. Don't be late. Make sure you are here by 8. By 8. Sarah gave me a ride. Sarah gave me a ride home. Sarah gave me a ride home after the party. Don't be late. Make sure you are here by 8. Sarah gave me a ride home after the party. You really shouldn't go to bed so late. You really shouldn't go to bed so late. It's often possible to put time at the beginning of this sentence. On Monday, I'm going to Paris. Every morning, Tom walks to work. Sometimes words, for example, always, never, often, usually go with the verb in the middle of the sentence. Always adverbs with a verb. Some adverbs, for example, always, also, probably go with a verb in the middle of a sentence. Helen always drives to work. We were feeling very tired and we were also hungry. The concert will probably be cancelled. Probably be cancelled. If the verb is one word, drives, fell, cooked, the adverb usually goes before the verb. Helen always drives to work. I almost fell as I was going down the stairs. I cleaned the house and also cooked dinner. Lucy hardly ever watches television. Lucy hardly ever watches television and rarely reads a newspaper. Should I give you my address? No, I already have it. Note that these adverbs always often also go before have to. Joe never calls me. Joe never calls me. Joe never calls me. Joe never calls me. I always have to call him. I always have to call him. Not I have always to call. But adverbs go after adverbs go after am, is, are, was, were. We are feeling very tired. We are feeling very tired. We are feeling very tired. The but adverbs go after am, is, are, was, were. We were feeling very tired, and we were also hungry. Why are you always late? Why are you always late? You are never on time. You are never on time. The traffic isn't usually as bad as it was this morning. If the verb is two or more words, can, remember, doesn't, it, will be cancelled, and the other verb usually goes after the first verb. Can, doesn't, will. I can never remember her name. Claire. Claire doesn't often eat meat. Are you definitely going to the party tomorrow? The concert will probably be cancelled. 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 You have always been very kind. You have always been very kind to me. You have always been very kind to me. Jack can cook. He can even boil an egg. Do you still work for the same company? The house was only built a year ago. And it's already falling down. Note that a negative. I probably won't see you. I will probably won't see you. I probably won't see you. I will probably not see you. We also use all and both in these positions. We all felt sick after we ate. My parents are both teachers. Sarah and Jane have both applied. Are both teachers. Have both applied for the job. We are all going. We are all going out tonight. Sometimes Sometimes we use is, will, did, etc. instead of repeating part of a sentence. Note that position of always and never in this sentence. He always says he won't be late, but he always is. He always says he won't be late, but he always is. I've never done it, and I never will. I've never done it. I've never done it, and I never will. We normally put always, never, etc. before the verb in sentences like this. Hmm. Still, yet, and, already, anymore, any longer, no longer. We use still to say that a situation or action is continuing. It hasn't changed. Or stopped. It's 10 and Joe is still in bed. When I went to bed, Chris was still working. Do you still want to go to the party, or have you changed your mind? Still usually goes in the middle of the sentence with the verb. Anymore, any longer, any longer, no longer. We use not anymore or not any longer to say that a situation has changed. Anymore and any longer go at the end of a sentence. Lucy doesn't work here anymore. She left last month. Lucy, we used to be good friends, but we aren't anymore. You can also use no longer. No longer goes in the middle of the sentence. Lucy no longer works here. No longer works here. Lucy no longer works here. Note that we do not normally use no more in this way. We are no longer friends. We are no longer friends. Compare still and not anymore. Sally still works here, but Anne doesn't work here anymore. Sally still works here, but Anne doesn't work here anymore yet, until now. We use yet mainly in negative sentences. He isn't here yet. And the questions, is he here yet? Yet shows that the speaker is expecting something to happen. Yet usually goes at the end of a sentence. It's 10 and Joe isn't here yet. Have you met your new neighbors yet? Where are you going for vacation? We don't know yet. We often use yet with the present perfect. Have you met yet? Compare yet and still. Mike lost his job 6 months ago and is still unemployed. Mike lost his job 6 months ago and hasn't found another job yet. Is it still raining? Has it stopped raining yet? It stopped it has stopped raining yet? Still raining? Has it stopped raining yet? Still is also possible in negative sentences. She said she would be here an hour ago and she still hasn't come. She still hasn't come. This is similar to she hasn't come yet, but still not shows a stronger feeling. Still not shows a stronger feeling of surprise or impatience. I wrote to him last week. He hasn't replied that, but I expect he will really reply soon. He hasn't replied yet. I wrote to him a month ago and he still hasn't replied. He should have replied before now. We use already to say that something happened sooner than expected. Already usually goes in the middle of a sentence. What time is Sue leaving? What time is Sue leaving? What time is Sue leaving? She has already left sooner than you expect. She has already left sooner than you expected. Should I tell Joe what happened? Should I tell Joe what happened? Or should I tell Joe what happened? Or does he should I tell Joe what happened? Or does he already know? Should I tell Joe what happened? Or does he already know? I've just had lunch and I'm already hungry. I've just had lunch and I'm already hungry. Tina loves watching television. She has a TV set in every room of the house, even the bathroom. We use even to say that something is unusual or surprising. It is unusual to have a TV set in the bathroom. These pictures are really awful. Even I could take better pictures than these, and I'm certainly not a good photographer. He always wears a coat, even in hot weather. Nobody would help her, not even her best friend, not even her best friend, not even her best friend would help her. Very often we use even with a verb in the middle of a sentence. Sue has traveled all over the world. She has even been to the Antarctic. She has even been to the Antarctic. It's especially unusual to go to the Antarctic, so she must have traveled a lot. They are very rich. They even have their own private jet. I can't cook. I can't even boil an egg. And boiling an egg is very easy. They weren't very friendly to us. They didn't even say hello. Jenny is in great shape. She is just run 5 miles and she's not even out of breath. She's not even out of breath. She's just run 5 miles and she's not even out of breath. You can use even compatible, even cheaper, even more expensive. I got up very early. I got up very early, but Jack got up even earlier. Jack got up even earlier. I knew I didn't have much money, but I have even less than I thought. I knew I didn't have much money, but I have even less than I thought. We were surprised to get a letter from her. We were even more surprised when she came to see us a few days later. Even though, even when, even if. You can use even though, even when, even if. Even though, even though she can drive, she bought a car. He never shouts, even when he never shouts, even when he's angry. I will probably see you tomorrow, but even if I don't see you tomorrow, even if I don't see you tomorrow, I'm sure we will see each other before the weekend. You cannot use even in this way. Subject even though even though she can drive, she bought a car. I can't reach the chef. I can't reach the chef even if I stand on a chair. I can't reach the chef even if I stand on a chair. We are going we are going to the beach tomorrow. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the weather is like. The weather is like. We are going we are going even if it's raining. We want to go to the beach tomorrow, but we won't go if it's raining, even if it's raining. Although, even though, in spite of, despite. Last year, Paul and Joanne spent their vacation at the beach. It rained a lot. It rained a lot, but they had a good time. Although it rained a lot, they had a good time. It rained a lot, but they had a good time. In spite of the rain, despite the rain, they had a good time. After although we use the subject for although it rained a lot, we enjoyed our vacation. I didn't get the job, although I was well qualified. Compare the meaning of although and because. We went out although it was raining. We didn't go out because it was raining. We went out although it was raining. After in spite of despite with a noun, a pronoun. In spite of the rain, we enjoyed our vacation. I didn't get the job in spite of being well qualified. She wasn't feeling well, but in spite of this, she went to work. In spite of what I said yesterday, I still love you. Despite is the same as in spite of. We say in spite of, but despite. She fell sick, but despite this, she went to work. Despite this, we can say in spite of the fact, despite the fact, I didn't get the job. In spite of the fact, I was well qualified. I didn't get the job despite the fact I was well qualified. Compare in spite of and because of. We went out in spite of the rain. In spite of the rain. We didn't go out because of the rain. Although in spite of despite. Although the traffic was bad. In spite of the traffic, we arrived on time. I couldn't sleep although I was very tired. I couldn't sleep despite being very tired. Despite being very tired. Despite. Sometimes we use though instead of although. I didn't get the job though I was well qualified. In spoken English, we often use though at the end of the sentence. The house isn't very nice. I like the garden though, but I like the garden. I see them every day. I've never spoken to them though, but I've never spoke to them. Even though, but not even alone is a stronger form of although. Even though, even though I was really tired, I couldn't sleep. Even though I was really tired, I couldn't sleep. Your car should have a spare tire because it is possible. Because your car should have a spare tire because it is possible you will have a flat tire. Your car should have a spare tire in case you have a flat tire. Your car should have a spare tire in case you have a flat tire. In case you have flat tire because it is possible you will have flat tire. In case you have a flat tire because it is possible you will have a flat tire. Some more examples of in case. I will leave my cell phone on. I will leave my cell phone on in case Jane calls because it is possible she will call. I will draw a map for you. I'll draw a map for you in case you can't find our house because it is possible you won't be able to find it. I will remember them. I will remind them. I remind them about the meeting in case they've forgotten because it is possible they have forgotten. We use just in case for a smaller possibility. I don't think it will rain, but I will take an umbrella just in case. Just in case it rains. In case, just in case, in case. Do not use will after in case. Use a present tense for the future. I will leave my phone on. I will leave my phone on in case Jane calls. In case Jane calls. In case because it is possible you will have flat tire. In case is not the same as if. We use in case to say why somebody does or doesn't do something. You do something now in case something happens later. You do something now in case something happens later. In case we will buy some more food in case Tom comes. We'll buy some more food if Tom comes. Maybe Tom will come. Maybe Tom will come. We will buy some more food now. Whether he comes or not, then we will already have the food if he comes. Maybe Tom will come. If he comes, we will buy some more food. If he doesn't come, we won't buy any more food. I will give you my phone number in case you need to contact me. You can call me at the hotel if you need to contact me. You should register your bike in case it is stolen. You should register your bike in case it is stolen. You should inform the police if your bike is stolen. Inform the police if your bike is stolen. You can use in case past to say why somebody did something. I left my phone on in case Jane called because it was possible that Jane would call. I drew a map for Sarah in case she couldn't find the house. We rang the doorbell again in case they hadn't heard it the first time. In case of is not the same as in case. In case of equal if there is. In case of fire, please leave the building as quickly as possible. In case of fire, if there is a fire. In case of emergency, call this number. Unless, as long as, providing. The club is for members only. You can go in unless you are a member. You can go in except if you are a member, or you can go in only if you are a member, or only if you are a member. Unless except if you are a member. Some more example of unless. I'll see you tomorrow unless except if I have to work late. There are no buses to the beach. There are no buses to the beach. Unless you have a car, it's difficult to get there, except if you have a car. Should I tell Liz what happened? Not unless she asks you. Only if she asks you. Sally hates to complain. Sally hates to complain. She wouldn't complain about something unless it was really bad. Except if it was really bad. We can take a taxi. We can take a taxi to the restaurant unless you'd prepare to work. Except if you'd prepare to work. Instead of unless, it is often possible to say if not. Unless we leave now, we will be late. If we don't leave now, or so long as, provided or providing. All these expressions means if or on condition that you can borrow my car. You can borrow my car as long as you promise not to drive too fast. You can borrow my car, but you must promise not to drive too fast. This is a condition. As long as you promise not to drive too fast. Traveling by car is convenient, provided that you have somewhere to park. Traveling by car is convenient, provided you have somewhere to park, providing, but only if you have somewhere to park, provided the room is clean. I don't care which hotel we stay, providing the room is clean. Provided the room is clean, I don't care which hotel we stay at. The room must be clean. Otherwise, I don't care. When you are talking about the future, do not use will after unless, so long as, providing. Use a present tense. I'm not going out unless it stops raining. Providing the weather is good, we are going on a picnic. As, at the same time, and as, at the same time as. You can use as when two things happen at the same time. We all waved goodbye to Liz as she drove away. We waved and she drove away at the same time. I watched her as she opened the letter. As I walked along the street, I looked in the store windows. Can you turn off the light as you go out, please? Or you can say that something happened as you were doing something else. In the middle of doing something else, Jill slipped as she was getting off the bus. We met as she was getting off the bus. We met Paul as we were leaving the hotel. Past continuous was getting, were going. You can also use just as, exactly at the moment. Just as I sat down, the, the phone rang. I had to leave just as the conversation was getting interesting. We also use as when two things happen together in a longer period of time. As the day went on, the weather got worse. I began to enjoy the job more as I got used to it. We use as only if two things happened at the same time. As we walked home, we talk about what we would have for dinner at the same time. Use when if one thing happens after another. When you got home, we started cooking dinner. As sometimes means because as it was a national holiday last Thursday, all the banks were closed because it was a national holiday. The thief was difficult to identify as he was wearing a mask during the robbery. We also use since in the way. Since it was a national holiday last Thursday, all the banks were closed. The thief was difficult to identify since he was wearing a mask during the robbery. I couldn't contact David as he was on a business trip and he doesn't have a cell phone because he was on a trip. As they lived near us, we used to see them pretty often because they lived near us. David's passport was stolen when he was on a business trip. He was on a business trip during the time he was away. When they lived near us, we used to see them. We used to see them pretty often at the time they lived near us. When they lived near us, we used to see them pretty often at the time they lived near us.